And just like that, we're back on Beats of the Heart, Lyrics of the Soul. The song we're talking about today is called Euthanamerica by King ISO. Find it in the description down there or in the top right-hand corner of the screen up there. If you love lyrics, you will love my deep dives in my deep in-depth song reviews. Let's get to the music. This song is an amazingly creative song. It is a metaphor itself for the action of human nature and how bad it can get and has gotten in some parts of the world. This song is basically focusing around America and reflecting on the artist's own experiences in life and how his children are going through the same thing. In effect, we are all killing ourselves in vicious cycles of bad habits, fears, anxieties, depressions that get passed on to our children. And it is happening everywhere. Which is why some of our youth are in the situations that they are in, that they should never be near growing up. The polarities of our actions contrast to euthanasia, assisted suicide, basically saying that the lifestyles and cultures of America cycle through assisting youths and adults with suicide. I will explain more after we go over the lyrics.
And I get a text from my son talking about he's sad. I call him, he talking about he going to kill us. So I started having a nervous breakdown. You know, I don't know what I did wrong. How could it feel like this? It made me start thinking about myself as a kid. What made me start feeling like this? Cause I was just a misled. Youth in America, youth in America.
So first, we get these lines.
I don't know what I'm doing lately, been doing the most.
I know these lines don't rhyme, but the way King ISO flows them with his rap singing melody is great. And what we get from the lines shows confusion in the mind. I think we can all feel that way in life. And we don't know what to do or where to go next. And we get trapped in habitual cycles that aren't always good for us. But we all do the most what we think is best for ourselves. Or do we? And the next lines give us.
I woke up this morning and I held my children close, like what am I teaching you? The world is ending.
We see here, King ISO is not afraid to show his true feelings and emotions, and some people hate on him for that, calling him an emo rapper. But anyone denying that they have felt feelings as humans, similar to these feelings he talks about, is lying to themselves. And like the first lines say, they are trying to do the most, but lying to themselves, they are doing the opposite and bringing on these cycles of feelings they hide. We see a father scared, living in a world of uncertainty, and knowing how messed up his life was, he questions if he is teaching his children the right stuff to end this cycle through them. He also shows a fear we all have, I am sure, of this world ending. And the next lines give us.
I don't even know, how can I lead you through this war if I don't know which way to go?
So here, King ISO shows more uncertainty in his mind on how can he teach his children if he doesn't know the right answers either, referring to life as a war, which it is in a sense, not like the physical act of war per se, but a war of minds, right thoughts, and how many minds can be gathered by those right thoughts to amass armies of humans that think the same, to go to war against other thoughts deemed not right. And the next lines give us.
Provider, protector, no evil ruler, I took volatile measures. I got in combat with mere mortals as I remain right in my sector.
I believe here King ISO is referencing how he went from becoming a ruler of the streets, or rapping in his area code, to becoming a father, going from a ruler to a protector, going from not caring about his actions and now having to carefully select each and every movement of his actions he makes to care and protect his own children. And the next lines give us.
Like I'm Mr. Ledger, I promised the world a phenomenal gesture, that I'ma do better with more than a dope bar, Pablo Esca.
The first line is amazing, referring to how Heath Ledger's status was phenomenal as an actor, only promising us more great movies with him in them. And then we all know what happened to him. And also how once he attained the title of father, he had so much more he had to become than he was now. Becoming a father and realizing the importance of it is the phenomenal gesture. And the second line is great. He expresses how through his rapping, he will rise in fame with more dope bars, rap lines, and the metaphor of Pablo Escobar in the bars of cocaine to show how high in fame he will rise. And the next lines give us.
We all know the pain is hereditary. The way that they're raising is necessary. Generational hatred is secondary.
So here, he is referencing how parents unwantingly or unknowingly pass on their pain and fears to their children, and how we all have unreal thoughts of what is necessary in life through possessions and convenience of life, when all we need is food, water, and oxygen, and shelter helps. The last line, and I am sure we all feel this way for whatever decade we grew up in, that the generation before us and after us had something wrong with them, in a way, in our minds. And studies have found that the majority of humans feel this way. They have called it juvenoia, and it is an exaggerated fear about the things that influence kids these days, and how it will somewhat destroy what previous generations built. And the next lines give us.
I'm keeping love at the gate like a secretary. But when I start thinking about the way that I came up.
So here, King Iso starts going over some of his thoughts in his mind and wondering why he acts the way he does. The metaphor about the secretary keeping love at the gate away from her boss, and how he never opens the gate to let love in. And the next lines give us.
But now I look at my babies, it's hella scary. Could it be why my parents were never married?
So ending the previous lines with thinking about how I came up, he expressed his fears about his children, and reflecting back to not letting love in, he wonders if it is because of his parents. And the next lines give us.
And I'm holding a grudge till I'm dead and buried. Cause I never learned how to forgive, or learn how to love, or learn how to grieve.
He expresses more things he wishes he was taught in his life that would make him a better man, to be a better father. And again, realizing it was the actions of his parents where he learned to feel this way, and doesn't want those same fears and anxieties to pass on to his own children. And the next lines give us.
So a poison, I'm obsessed, addicted to objects. I encompass it all and can't lead.
So we see here his addiction to possessions and money. He expresses how he doesn't want to pass these addictions on to his own children, to in turn make them have the same thoughts as him. And the next lines give us.
It's killing us all when we're children, adults can't even feel it cause all we do is bleed. And if y'all were killing yourselves daily, then as a kid, what's that mean for me?
So in the first line here, he shows us how we all may have these feelings at times, but we hide them from our children and friends, or we just ignore them ourselves. I also think we can go deeper with thought and bring it into a household of parents going through much, but hiding it from their children. And much like the household dog, they don't see the anguish. Then we get the hook, which is just King Iso repeating, "Youth in America, youth in America," to emphasize the point that this is happening. And then the first lines of verse 2 give us.
Imagine getting back to time stress took. OKC and balling out Westbrook.
So here, he's referring to old stress and anxieties coming back and still being able to take over, even though he has gained the type of fame he wants, balling now like Westbrook. Nice basketball metaphor. And the next lines.
I was broke, now I'm running up a check good, but never learned about balance in a checkbook, or credit now knee deep in debt look.
So we see here more things he wishes he was taught. The importance of money, growing up so he wouldn't be in the situation he is, making tons of money, but still being in debt. And the next lines give us.
At the depth, watch a step, leave your breath took. Never learned to face problems, I left look. Now I jab at him, then I throw a left hook.
I love how King Iso uses his wordplay differently than other rappers, and how his bars don't always have to rhyme, but it doesn't matter. He gets his point across with his flow, the melody, and the lines brilliantly. And the next lines give us.
My mama told me keep a couple honeys round, cause they go find a better guy and act funny style.
So he shows here the insecurities of him not letting love in come somewhat from his mother, and believing she was teaching her son something to help him avoid the pain of love, but it corrupted his thoughts of love and his mind about love. And the next lines give us.
That's why I got it popping like 100 rounds. And any girl I get, I don't know how to love them now. All I wanna do is crush them now.
So here, he expresses that is why he doesn't have serious relationships with women, so he can find love with them, because his mother taught him to not fall in love, in a sense. And the next lines give us.
I get around and they just want another round, and this digital underground and it's killing me. What I'm how old head and rock bottom.
I think he is saying here how he can make a song that people like, and they are gone, moving on to the next rapper, instead of going and listening to more of his music. I may be wrong here. And the next lines give us.
I just wanna roll above this mountain just to hover around.
Referring to his rise to fame in the rap game. And the next lines.
Drinking and then it was smoking just to feel easy about the emotions.
I think he is saying here how he sees these same emotions in a lot of rappers, but they are too big of men to show or talk about it. In turn, they drown their emotions in drugs and alcohol, destroying who they were. Yet, those emotions still exist. And that is why we have so many stars that leave this world of their own accord. They express what they feel in this world as opposed to in their mind. And it eventually destroys their mind. In the next lines.
They never speak on it, they would just hold it. Label you weak if you ever exposed it. I'm in the streets and I learn and behold it.
Again, here, how we are all big men and scared to show our emotions. Kinda sounds a little ironic being scared to show your emotions, yet they show the emotion of being scared by never expressing the true feelings of their emotions. And the next lines give us.
Now do you see the pale horse I just rode in, making a nation corrupt that was golden, alienated when they get the probing.
The pale horse line refers to Revelations 6:8, where death rides in on a pale horse, contrasting the polarity of him expressing these emotions in his music, which should kill his career, death, by the thought of the big men in the rap game. But he is still here. And the next lines give us.
I got a question for you and I. How can we lead if we're truly blind?
I know we try not to admit it in our minds that we walk through life blindly as billions of humans everywhere, not really knowing our purpose or having a definitive answer to our purpose. In the next lines.
I'm seeing all of the youth and eyes of American people be euthanized.
So here, he sees that blind adults and youths following those adults, we are destroying what life should be for ourselves and our future progeny, all because of our ancestors. They did the same. Yes, technology has changed and humans do change with technology, but it seems there is one part of our brains and thought patterns that never changes, and we are all killing ourselves following the same mistakes of the humans that taught us how to be human. And the next lines give us.
It's a terrible thing with our foolish pride to be leaders then lead them all to the mind.
When we have any addictions, whether they're good or bad, that is our foolish pride. And the second line, showing it will be our demise. And the next lines give us.
And by choosing to do it while supervised, ain't that assisted suicide for all of the youth in America, youth in America.
Referring here more to alcoholism, I think, but it can be any addiction we have that controls our lives on an everyday basis. Most addictions are legal and sanctioned by the government, which is what he means by we're being supervised, assisting the eventual death or suicide of the majority of people. After this, we get the hook again, repeating Youth in America, and the interlude about King Iso's son, calling him while he was touring and saying his son wanted to kill himself, and King Iso wondering why. I am sure we can see some truth and sentiments behind his concept for this song, not just in America, but for how all as humans, we will make selfish choices that benefit our feelings, but not our mind or self or others in the long term. And we can lie to ourselves for a long time, and hopefully we can realize it before it is too late and becomes a long strung out death without living life in between. King Iso is an amazing artist with a different rapping and flowing style than most rappers. Even among fast rappers, I find his flows to be quite original in the way he delivers them. King Iso's early teen years were equally consumed by rap and gang life. His involvement in crime eventually resulted in him serving jail time, a stint in a psych ward, and upon his release, he grappled with homelessness, low-paying gigs, and trying to leave violent street life behind to better himself. He first went by the stage name Reali-t and released the T-Virus mixtape in 2013, and then Project Iso later that year. Following the Project Iso mixtape, he adopted the moniker Iso and released the albums Venom and Icon, both released in 2014. He eventually began working with Twisted Insane's Brainsick music label, which released his breakthrough 2015 mixtape, The Insanity Plea, a project so well received that it inspired the young rapper to officially change his name to King Iso. I first started listening to Twisted Insane when King Iso started working with Brainsick Music, and I love both of their rapping styles, and they both became my newest favorite rappers. After King ISO's 2016 release of Autophobia, tensions developed between King ISO and Brainsick Music, in part from difficult tours and interpersonal issues between King ISO and Twisted Insane. On one of these tours, King ISO was sought out by Tech-9, who came to the show in Kansas on recommendations of industry friends who had told him about King ISO's talent. Rumors began circulating that King ISO had clandestinely abandoned Brainsick Music to sign with Tech-9's Strange Music. Though the rumors were false, they led to King ISO angrily cutting ties with Brainsick Music. He released his next album, Dementia, independently in the summer of 2018. And he signed with Strange Music in 2019 and released one of his best albums, in my opinion, called World War Me. And we can see from the lyrics in this song, he has inner demons that he battles with all the time. That is what the World War Me is, him battling to make himself better. King ISO can amaze you with his thoughtful, creative lyrics that usually pertain to his own life experiences, which makes some of his stories so real with the feelings and emotions that he does put into them. I hope you enjoyed this deep, in-depth song review, and you know I will be back as the beats of our heart and lyrics of our soul play on forever. Thank you for watching. Bye.